everyone, and a very warm welcome to Emma's Rock Metal Managers Meetup number 3. It's really great to see so many of you here. My name is Michelle Ronquillo, and I am Emma's event manager. Just a little bit about us. Within Emma, we unite music managers organization across 13 European countries, which represent more than 2,000 managers across Europe. We've made it our mission to strengthen European managers globally through the Empower program, which encompasses education, advocacy, networking, and research. Emma is a project co-founded by the European Union. If you want to know more about us, or if you want to stay up to date with the upcoming events, make sure to visit our website, follow us on social media, join our WhatsApp group, sign up to our newsletter, and I will put the links in the chat in a little bit. Within the chat, there is also a general manager's contact list where you can leave your contact details and find the details of others. And also when you log off soon at the end of the session, a super brief survey will pop up. Just take a moment to fill it out as your feedback is super, super important for us. Today we'll be discussing DIY distribution label services, the independent releasing way, and we are in very good company. I am just going to share the agenda of today. Let me know if you see it. So I will let my Nuria, who will be moderating the session. She's a manager and also member of the steering committee at EMA. And I also wanted to let you know that at the end of the session, we will have some Q&A. So you are more than welcome to drop your questions in the chat, and I'll make sure that they get answered. And we will stop at some point, and then we will open the breakout rooms. So I will let you know when this is happening. And of course, the more the merrier. But if you have to leave, then you can do so by 10. And then we'll bring you back to the main room, and I will make sure that we'll go over this the breakout room thing once when is the time, and then we will be finishing around 7 p.m. more or less. We'll try to be punctual, even though it's going to be a very hot topic. Sorry, that's what I want to say. Okay, and so without further ado, Nuria, over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle. And well, it's my pleasure to be your moderator today. And well, good afternoon to every one of you. And just let's go straight to the point. And let's start talking about, DIY, do-it-yourself, distribution, and at the metal and rock landscape. So I will start with you guys introducing yourself briefly, if possible, and also asking you to give us some intelligence about your business, your model, the kind of added value that you are bringing to the landscape. And I would like to start with you, Denise, if possible, because as far as I understood, is you are the more general, or you have the more general approach to digital distribution or distribution in general. But well, let's introduce yourself, and we will find out if I am in the right position.
Yeah, thank you, Nuria. I guess you put it right already in comparison with like Dave and Björn, who will come in later. Yes, we are like a general digital distributor. Yes, that is correctly put. Like we are like Belief, if you want to compare it to these other competitors, the Orchard and so on. Of course, we can say their names. And yes, so we are like an independent digital distributor coming here from Hamburg. Like, yeah, I'm saying independent because like, we are really like doing everything from here. This is our headquarter. We are like around 60 people nowadays, and taking care of like from the very beginning to the very end when it comes to digital distribution, and also offering, because we belong to the Edel concern, maybe some of you already heard about it. We also like offer physical distribution, of course, and we have a pressing plant in our family as well, and so on. Me especially, I'm taking care of a special, for example, of the label A Rising Empire, which is a 100% content media label, which is specialized in metalcore, with bands like Landmarks, Throne, and so on, you name it. Throne just released on Friday their debut record. saying that, so yes, we're like a digital distribution offering it all, but also like we are taking mainly care of like, yeah, labels if you want to, but we are also doing direct signings with artists, bands, even managements, if they have run like an agency, when they reached a certain level, you know, like of maturity or whatever you may call it, but when the counter starts at 0 at all points with like streaming wise and social media wise, then it should be like, should have good arguments why we should take them indirectly, because maybe at that point, when they're really like starting new, they are maybe like better served at other stations when it comes to like a self-publisher maybe, or even a label then, or whatever. But we have that already, that really like artists coming out of the rehearsal room and asking for a distribution deal. And then you always have to ask them, are you sure what you are talking about, or what you really need to just put it that way? That's not meant offensive. So yeah, but we're doing this as well. But yeah, you're right. We are a digital distributor. Yes.
Thank you. Interesting approach. Now we are going to see another approach, I guess, that is more specific or more boutique style, if I can say so, just because Björn, if I understood your your business model is more tailor-made for your clients, or just, as I say, please introduce yourself and your business model better than me.
Yes. Excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, that's correct. Björn, I co-own Odyssey Music Network, and specifically the label services unit. And yeah, we're not this big tech-driven company that distributes a lot of labels. We started out as a management company, and we still are till today, with artists like Apocalyptica, Royal Republic, The Halo Effect, Heather Nova, and multiple others. And yeah, I would say that this is the reason why we're a little bit different, because everything started out of an artist management perspective, and my business partner, who's been an artist manager for over 20 years, constantly reminds me of what is actually important to artists and their managers. So yes, we're more tailored down to specific needs. We're distributed by Fuga globally, and yes, we offer marketing and product management services to basically anyone who might need that. I don't mean that in an A&R way. We still say no to some stuff, but we've had completely independent artists, even without a management, up to international labels who needed representation in Germany. And so it's not one size fits all, but we try to make it work at every level. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And what about you, David? Because I think if you are the newcomer, or at least in this part of the metal, because well, we are very interested in it, because this is we have organized this inside the steering committee on metal and rock music. So you are just established a new company, if I understood it well, just focus on stream music. So why do you decide to go there? What is your, well, the love pool that you are looking to cope, or why do you and also give us some hints about the different approach you are taking in this area.
Yeah, sure. So we are not our own company. We are the genre expertise unit inside Belief Distribution. Like Dennis already said, Belief Distribution is like also doing global distribution for a lot of genres, not only metal and heavy music and rock general, but the approach that we were aiming for when we started to lay out the structure for this unit in 2019 and 2020 was to get the genre expertise and to serve bands managements and like artist-owned labels at every level. No matter if they are just starting out, have a good setup like with marketing, PR, or management, or if they are already established, like a band like Butcher Babies, for example, that is also working with us since the last 2 full-length releases, that want to take a more controlling approach to releasing their music. So this is where the idea of Blood Blast distribution came to life, basically. And like I said, we try to service the artists at every level. And with the different brands we have, I believe, like Nuclear Blast, for example, we also then try to leverage an artist, for example, like Brand of Sacrifice, that we took over from their old label and started to help them grow independently, and that are now signing or have signed a label deal with Nuclear Blast to get the services that they need there, for example.
Okay, thank you. That's interesting approach as well. So yeah, so 3 different business models. Now I would like to dramatically change to Ruth, to the other side of the coin. Well, that's not the side, is the focus of everything, is the artist here. So Ruth, I would like you to explain us a little bit how, because I know you well, and that you are mainly on the DIY landscape during your whole career. How does this kind of way shape your career during this year? Just doing yourself everything, and well, do you feel different from other bands, or what does it just, yeah?
Well, thank you. And first of all, it's great to be here with everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I play guitar in a Spanish alternative metal band, Bones of Minerva. We're based here in Madrid. And I mean, we started out, as many bands do, rehearsing in our singer's mum's kind of back room in her house. And we kind of built up, you know, playing a small circuit of in Madrid. Our first album we self-released because you know, no one really knew us. We didn't have a big platform to kind of and there wasn't a big, to be honest, here in Spain we weren't kind of sure which way to go, who to approach. We knew some local promoters and they really helped us out, but they weren't, the DIY scene in Madrid for labels wasn't very big. So we self-released our first album, and then we actually, once we'd self-released it, we released it again with 2 small labels, La Rubia Producciones being one of them. And we've kind of taken a bottom-up approach, I guess, where we just kind of have built up on everything we've done gradually. Our second album we co-released with a bigger label, Loud Music, here in Spain, and that's we've kind of, I guess, done, yeah, kind of a slow growth, because that's just kind of what's worked for us. We've just kind of always gone for, you know, what's working for the band, what do we want to do, and what can we achieve realistically. Yeah, I don't know if, and right now, so we're in the process of looking at how to release our second full length.
Great. So you are just in the middle of a big decision on do it yourself, or looking for a traditional label, or even in the middle, something in the middle. So coming back again to the, well, one of the big things, because we are talking about do it yourself, but we are talking about distribution. And I'm not sure if all of you are doing physical distribution, or is it just digital? Because it's a common feeling in our steering committee that at least metal and rock is very, physical distribution is very close to our hearts. Metal fans do buy vinyls and CDs, and even before the pandemic. So this is an important key for us to know how physical distribution can be improved. So I think that you, David, are only online. You are not physical distribution, but you, Björn and Denise, I think that, well, you already mentioned, Denise, that you are doing physical distribution. Well, Could you
Yeah.
elaborate a little bit on what's well, maybe can you see the future on this area? Do you see any new opportunities on that? And well, how do you cope? Sorry, how do you cope with these
Yeah,
up and
I mean,
downs in sales? How do you forecast the production? So are a lot of
yeah.
questions on that, but yes, please
I
enlighten us.
wish I could foresee the future, but and also when it comes to forecasts, of course, this is always kind of like, yeah, yeah, just thinking about it. I will come from a different approach now. Let's put it that way. I guess Dave said it as well. They would offer physical distribution at a certain point when he would like hand over maybe to Believe, and then they would do stuff like that. But yes, their first approach is coming digital only. When normally it depends on the demand. What the band is looking for. I mean, every band would love to have like 500 sexy vinyls they can sell on tour. And of course, we gladly help them out with that. We do that as well. As said, we have a production and a pressing plant being part of our company. We can do that for like the nicest of conditions. But if you want to have it distributed as well physically, then it really gets kind of tricky because, yeah, of course, have us at least listed at Amazon, for example, stuff like that. This is something. Then you have, yeah, you open up the box of Pandora if you want. So this is like a lot of, yeah, like with the warehousing and everything, and the stock has to be ready, this and that. And normally, if you don't have the feeling that I can at least sell, let it be 500 copies via Amazon, or at least via a normal distribution way, physical distribution way, then better don't do it, because you will like throw money after it, to be very honest, because like of returns and stuff and assets, warehousing. Everybody wants to be on Amazon and like, yeah, being distributed worldwide. But as said, if there is not the perspective of at least, yeah, selling a certain amount, then as said, it's like you're throwing money after it. You will lose on it, put it that way. But as said, service-wise, when it comes to us, like, yeah, I mean, we are like really huge in physical product still. Yes, as said, also for the touring and stuff, and for the artist bands' own shops and everything. Of course, we gladly like, yeah, make a nice product for them as well, and yeah, tie it up with the digital release, of course, that it all comes together. But yeah, and that being said, I have to admit that we are talking mainly about vinyl nowadays, but of course the CD is still around as well. But it ends up with vinyls, especially in certain multicolored, sexy-looking thingies. So yeah, that's what we do on a daily basis. But yeah, as said, better have like a certain level reached already. As said that, no, it's like, yeah, or better don't touch it, because you will maybe lose money. That's what, yeah.
Mhm.
Björn, do you have a different feeling about it? I don't know if you were nodding or
No, not at all. I would even go further and say, up to a certain level, like the old school way of distributing records, and
Yeah.
with records I mean like the physical records, maybe vinyl or CDs. It's just not fun anymore, because
as well.
you have to deal with Zoom thinks I'm talking in Ukrainian. I'm not. No. There was a little pop-up window here. Never seen that before. Whatever. You have to deal with, of course, a commission or a fee that you have to pay to the distributor. You have discounts. You have way less room to present it. Brick and mortar stores are either closing down or reducing. Let's talk MediaMarkt, Saturn, or there are equivalents all over Europe and the world, but they just don't rec that many records anymore, especially not on catalog. And my advice would be here: when you start out as a fresh, brand new band, don't do physical. Unless you have a lot of live dates where you can actually sell them, and start with a digital strategy first, and don't even think about an album. Just do 10 singles. Do the album, take the album you intend it to be a real album, take these 10 songs and release them as singles, maybe as a waterfall release or whatever, and build your audience first before you try to sell to people. And what we are trying to do here at the moment is we've built our own e-commerce ecosystem, and we try to actively drive fans there to buy directly from the band, because that's just way more fun when you look at the accounting sheet than waiting for months for the money to arrive from the distributor, who as well waits for a certain period of time to get the money from the retailers, and basically educate your fans to go direct. You have the data, you can remarket to, and you can sell them tickets, you can sell them t-shirts, and that's something I would recommend. Of course, you want you know, your web shop, maybe a really nice boutique, but you also want to be in the mall, which would be the equivalent to Amazon these days. But there's other ways to happen on Amazon as well, with like third-party seller accounts there, which your web shop logistics company can maybe help you with. And so I would encourage everyone to think way more independent here.
Okay. So
Well put.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I assume, David, that these were the reasons that you were just going online only or digital. I may say, because you are not well doing any kind of physical distribution, or at least not this your main purpose, and this is why, because of the reason, or you have any reasons behind? And also, if you can also give us, as you are mainly digital, do you have any example of a band that has succeeded probably just doing everything in digital in the metal scene without having any kind of physical distribution of CDs or vinyls?
Yeah, first of all, I wouldn't go as harsh as Björn put it, to say don't do any physical, because it also depends, in my opinion, especially in the metal scene that we are around, on the subgenre you're in. If you're a black metal or a doom metal band, you will need to have at least something like tapes or something, because that's your audience. That's what they crave for. They want to have something. Of course, it's always better to have something to sell live than to try work your way around direct distribution or direct selling stuff to fans. But even then, there are still plenty of ways in those subgenres to do that properly, and also make a bit of money from that to support your other endeavors that you can push in your longevity, like on your digital platforms and on your digital growth, reaching other people around the world, be it Bandcamp or another shop solution. One band that has successfully grown and is one of our great success stories, focusing on digital only first and then starting out physically with their own band shop more and more, is Paleface Swiss. We signed them with, I think it was in 2020, with 1,900 monthly listeners or something, and right now they're sitting at 900,000, and we worked on the whole catalog with them, and they have also a very modern but also a very extreme sound, coming from the deathcore and the slam background. But they also saw the need of not only like merch and shirts and like the giving people something to identify with. They also started printing their own vinyl once they got the funds going and were able to manufacture like a small, with a broker, is like small 300 pieces of vinyl, and then directly selling them to fans. And this is also something where we might go full circle again, because back in the day, bands were heavily invested with their fans also, and like be it tape trading or something. I don't know Everyone else can disagree if they want to, if it's maybe a very romantic approach there, but I think we're circling back on that with having bands to take over more responsibility again, to also connect and build relationships with their fans, and then selling stuff to them directly, be it a tape or be it like investing into a small amount of vinyl, 300 vinyls that they then sell themselves, also build content around it and film themselves, like how they really actually ship their stuff to a fan, be it in their own country or abroad, basically. So, but to circle back to your question, basically, yes, we decided to do only digital distribution for artists at every level because we wanted to service every size of artists, basically. If we would say we distributed with physical, we couldn't invest in the very small artists because WAV files are not collecting dust in a shelf and are not being returned from HMV or MediaMarkt. So, and that's the risk that we then take away from ourselves, but also from the bands, by also giving them 100% of those fundings. Like if they want to do physical, if they want to sell it, it's all theirs, and we only help them push the digital landscape, basically.
That's right. An interesting also point of view, different, and yeah, and an innovator as well. So I am going to again to you, Ruth, and also to see your point of view concerning, well, this if you are remaining in the DIY philosophy, what are the main things that you are missing now in the industries? Is all these services that they are talking about, are they coping with all the needs that you have been doing do-it-yourself artists? Do you think that something is missing? What are the main needs you have from the other parts that can help you to be with you and with this do-it-yourself philosophy?
I mean, there are so many parts. It's really interesting hearing you talk about this. I think when we started a few years ago, digital distribution or distribution in general wasn't, you always have kind of the figure of the label or of the manager, but distribution isn't something that you were kind of as aware of or was as important. I think for us, I think definitely in this genre, we tour quite a lot, and in this genre, people do buy vinyls, tapes. Yeah, we made for sure, even though we don't make black metal, and still we sold all the tapes. Even stuff like fanzines we've done, because a couple of us, we do all the artwork, and fans definitely connect with that and support it more than with digital. I think if we only if only releasing digitally for us, I think would be a really big financial setback. Like we wouldn't, I don't know how, it's such a big, I guess for us, we've always kind of self-funded as well, right? When we went with a bigger label for our second album, the album was already recorded. So we had some funding, for example, for videos and so on. But even just making the music, that's a pretty big cost for a band to kind of fund, which, it's part of it. But, if you're then only releasing digitally, and you're not making a lot of money on that, I think it's a tricky time, because you can see that the kind of virality or kind of this need for new music constantly now makes you think maybe you just release digitally, exactly, it's not worth it, or maybe you just release an EP. But I think for us, the physical, maybe not distribution to stores and so on, but definitely is, as you were saying, Denise, touring without merch. I know bands that do it, and I don't know, not many of them survive, to be honest. So yeah, I think it's I mean, going back to what you're saying of what you were asking earlier about what we need or whatever, I think for us as a band, it's quite tricky to know how to navigate the industry right now, because you kind of you need the contacts, right? You need a lot of not just labels, but even people that do PR or management kind of will look at your social media and look at your numbers. There's a lot of like work that the band or the artist has to put in on the other side. So the answer is we kind of need help in many different areas. I suppose as a band, what we look at is what do we think is worth investing in? What do we need to outsource for sure, because we need that industry know-how, or we can't do everything. But as a DIY band, you're kind of a bit of a renaissance band in a sense that you kind of do everything, and in a way you're kind of expected to do a lot, right? You book shows, and even promoters and bookers are like, okay, you got to push the shows, and you got to yeah, that falls into another. Anyway, I could talk about this for ages, but the answer is, you need a lot of help, and I guess it's great to kind of try and identify, okay, what do we focus on? What really is going to push us? And that's what we're doing now, saying, okay, what do we really, now we have a great promoter that's helping us a lot. So we're like looking precisely at distribution. How can we push ourselves, especially on digital, because it's a weak link. I'm sorry to go on for so long.
But may I ask just one question? Ever tried to ask for the help of a label? This is something you totally like exclude out of your thoughts. You have the approach, I want to do everything on my own. That's why I'm DIY. Is that like kind of philosophy as well? Because as you say, like we need expertise and context and stuff. Isn't that also like something where a label could come in? I mean,
yeah, no, absolutely. And so with the first album, we kind of co-released with 2 smaller labels, and that was a great help. But they kind of helped us definitely with physical distribution to a point. They helped us with publishing, editorial publishing, and contacts and so on. When we released our second album, we also worked with a bigger label, and there was many areas we really they worked great, but there were still some things that didn't, right? Which is fair enough, because there's always that give and take, right?
Well, I'm just curious where it comes from, this like I want to be DIY, or you want to do it DIY, because it has to be like a serious decision, I think, like for a band, or like
Well, you know what, it could be, but I think, to be honest, a lot of it for us definitely was just out of necessity. There wasn't a different way to do it, because we did approach labels and bookers, and we were just it's fair enough. A lot of you guys get, I don't know how many bands, so many, right? So we did reach out to people. It wasn't we want to do everything on our own. It was more we either do it independently or we can't do it. And, we're definitely open to it. But I suppose that the longer you've been doing things more independently, the more you're like aware of your own faults and where you need help. But also, then you think, okay, actually this I think I can do,
Sure.
Right. So I also would like to encourage people in the audience to make questions in the chat. I don't know, Michelle, how long more time we have with the debate. So we start the Q&A.
We still have 10 more minutes.
Okay, perfect. So I would like to go directly to talk about money, or talk about your financial model, because it's important for us, the managers that are the main audience here, to know how, if we can just afford your services, your interesting services that you are offering. So I would like to directly ask you, how is your what is your financial structure? Do you work by fees, by sell commissions, by split of something? So do you have something clear that you can just tell us? So I don't know who would to start with this.
I don't know who wants first. I'm pretty sure that we are like, this is not that different, I guess, but I don't know who. Who wants?
If you want to, I mean,
I mean, it's actually pretty easy, an easy answer. We take a distribution fee from what's coming in at a certain percentage, and that's it, to be very honest. We like to keep it as simple as that. And there's like, of course, like our social media department, our YouTube department, everything is included, and we want to cover that with our distribution fee. We take from the money incoming, the net income that comes in. Yeah, and that's more or less it. If we like, if you would like to have a physical product or anything, we can upfront that, and like, of course, then keep that from the royalties coming in, or you can easily also pay it. But yeah, we like to keep it simple on that end, to be very honest. We do it by distribution fee. There's not like you can book an extra service or something. Then we will more or less talk about like, okay, maybe then we have to like change the percentage a little bit, but not like, yeah, we don't have like a tableau where you can choose from, I want this, this, and that. We do that at the very beginning. We agree on a certain level of like partnership, or who's doing what. So like who's coming from your side, from that side of the team, what do we have to bring in from our team, and then we meet at a certain percentage level, and that's more or less it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I guess ours doesn't differ that much. Basically, we have a certain percentage fee that we work with artists on a royalty split, a life cycle of the distribution period, and basically the content commitment that we agree on with bands or the artist-owned labels. If artists grow to a certain size, of course, and we want to renew the relationship, we also pay out advances if needed for certain sizes and for marketing or whatever. We have a network of different PR agencies that we can connect bands with, and then like the agencies, there's no guarantee that the agencies pick the artist, because that's what was really important for us, that we get honest feedback by all the partners we are working with, and that we also recommend to our bands, especially if they're smaller bands that have not that big of a budget, that they don't have to work with money grabbing agencies that just like throw something against the wall and say, well, it didn't work out. At least you know that they tried there, and that's basically it. So, and everything else, like I said, physical merch, concerts, all that kind of stuff that then would be more working in a label approach kind of thing, that stays 100% with the artists. So.
And what about you in Odyssey, Björn?
Well, we're taking a share of the income as well, both physically and digitally, and that includes like basic product management. When you come to the point where you talk about a real album campaign with lots of lead time, pre-orders, marketing, and oftentimes also across multiple territories, we charge a product manager fee as well. Of course, it always depends on what's the forecast, what do you expect coming in turnover-wise. So that there are some variables you can play around with when negotiating the deal, but that's the basic story or structure. Yes.
Okay, it's interesting to know. Yeah. Well, I think that as Michelle said, we have still some minutes, but not so much. So I would like to ask you that each of you, if you can give us, I don't know, a piece of advice to the hundreds of managers that are hearing you that are on the other side of the screen, some pieces of advice on this area that we must hear, or just takeaways, or whatever you please. So please, Ruth, could you start with giving this piece of advice or to managers on distribution and do yourself, apart from hearing you deeply?
I think advice to managers. I think as an artist, it's often very hard to know where to start or where to turn to. So I think we often don't understand the industry we're trying to get into. So I think doing the legwork for that, helping us understand that so that we can work with you on how to be successful is great.
Perfect. So maybe Dennis, you can also give us some advice.
Well, advice, but but yeah, I mean, we're talking about DIY distribution or DIY or not distribution or something like that right at the moment. I would just say, please make up your mind very carefully of what you're looking for. Or like, I mean, because it's kind of a trend nowadays to skip the label. Labels are not needed anymore. I can do it myself, stuff like that. And labels are greedy bastards. I'm not too sure about that. Labels can also be like really very big, can make a big difference, especially in certain scenes as well, when they stand for a certain sound and stuff like that. So, but if you still prefer the DIY approach and everything, yeah, as said, yeah, be aware of what you are capable of doing, what you can deliver on your own, or where you need help, and maybe like arrange a team around you with like, yeah, services, external promoters and stuff like that. Of course, feel free, but as said, like, please, yeah, make up your mind very carefully, and yeah, do it on your own, or maybe look for labels. They are not that bad, and I say that as a distributor, but yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah,
Great.
agree with Dennis on that. Basically, it comes down to what kind of service in the end you are looking for. Basically, if you are a band of 5 people and everybody has a talent in, be it like content creation, being understanding marketing, booking advertisements or stuff like that, somebody being comfortable in front of the camera, talking to your fans and everything, and then keeping up with a schedule, and maybe being the face of the band, also being good in talking to DIY magazines and stuff like that, then of course it would make sense to stay independent, start out with something like, for example, TuneCore, make your first forays there, and then see if you need more help in, let's say, communication to the DSPs, help with how you can improve your pitches, how you can improve your profiles on the DSPs and stuff like that, then it would make sense to approach us. And if you say, hey, we need now a global marketing strategy, we need physical distribution and everything in between, and maybe good connections to other bands on a label that stands for a certain sound, for example, then it would make sense, for example, to approach a label A&R team and pitch them your release and see if you can come and work together. So yeah, it really comes down to being very honest to yourself and what are you really capable in doing yourself. Also, do you have the time and also the strength with like having to work a full-time job to learn the knowledge that you might need in addition, and then take it from there.
Yeah, maybe to add here, I think DIY is a little bit misleading because once you're in a partnership or in a situation with one of us here, there's already someone doing something for you, so it's not completely DIY anymore.
Sure.
However, I think it's important to realize that this model is just not for everyone, because it takes a lot of more involvement than just signing an old school record deal with a label. You're way more accountable. You need to put in way more work yourself. And as a manager, you're all of a sudden, when you're asking something, it's not the label's money on the plate anymore, it's your artist's money. And it completely changes the game sometimes, also in the relationship between artist and manager. I think that's something everybody should be aware of.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of takeaways and interesting thoughts on the subject. And we are not the ones to decide today. But I realized that there were a lot of questions now burning in the chat. So if you can be so kind as to help me with the...
Yeah, no problem. There is a few questions. We have one from Jorge saying, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. I wanted to ask, how do you get about discovering new bands? Do you do through proposals receiving from bands, or do you use scouts?
On our end, we have basically two approaches. One is the website that we have, bloodblast.com, where we have a form that you can fill out with your project. And we try to be on top of our game to scout it thoroughly, regularly, but sometimes there's so many applications coming in. The importance there would be to be as thorough as possible and explaining what you need or what you want. And we also scout actively for bands, be it either seeing them through music videos or on, like, let's say, YouTube reaction channels or something like that, or also seeing them live if we go to one of our band shows or to a bigger show where there's maybe a local support band, and they really catch our attention there. We then look into the digital areas of the band and see where they're standing at. I mean, key point indicators that would make us very interested in a band would be, like I said, for us, very important, how much can the band do themselves and how much responsibility can the band take over themselves. And when they reach out to us also, it's very distinct pretty easily if a band is just looking for editorial playlist plugging service, or if they are actually looking into having themselves grow properly on the streaming platforms with an organic growth.
Thank you. We have another question. What is the budget for a digital promo campaign in all Euro countries, more or less?
If we'd run an agency doing that, we can answer it precisely, I guess. That varies very much. I don't know, to be very honest. Make it 2,500 for a start. I don't know, Björn, what would you say? Something more of Dave? This is really a tricky question.
It really depends on the size and the
Yeah.
genre that you're aiming for in the end. So
Yeah. It's you have to look at the specific artist and look at the territories and how successful they are there. What have they done there before? Did they tour there before? And I would actually say if someone, we're talking PR here, I think, not digital marketing.
Yeah.
If someone offers a pan-European PR campaign for 2,500 euro, it's probably not going to end well.
Exactly. Sorry, you're right. Yeah.
There are certain territories, like when you look at an artist out of Germany, for example, there are certain territories where you really need boots on the ground. You can't do that from outside. Probably, well, France and the UK, for sure. Everything else in Europe might work, but just up to a certain extent. And if you want full coverage, 100% of all media outlets in Europe being serviced at least, you will need a variety of partners or agencies in your network, and nobody wants to work for free. So I think I would rather plan in 10K here, really.
Well, thank you all so much. I'm sure we could do another 3-hour session of this topic, but our session has come to an end. I want to thank every one of you for joining in. Your information has been super valuable, and I also invite you all to stay. I'm going to stop recording now.